Hi guys, it's Kit here from the Kit Does Yoga YouTube channel. Now today I'm really excited to bring you a tutorial on one of my personal favorite yoga poses, crow pose. Go ahead and insert a clip of me falling on my face in one of these poses. I'm sure we will catch one as we film this. So before we get started, I wanted to use some props here. Now, the first props I'm going to use is just something big and soft and fluffy. I went ahead and grabbed a cushion. I'd recommend a stack of pillows, maybe a couch cushion, just something big and fluffy that you will not be afraid to face plant into. Remember that clip of me falling on my face? It's fine, it happens to all of us. And the second prop I wanted to advise you to grab is just something that's a little bit more sturdy. Now this we're actually going to use to put our feet up on. So you can use blocks, you can use a stack of books. If you have a stool, like a bathroom stool, like some that's like really close to the ground, or a kitchen stool, go ahead and grab one of those as well, because that might help. No worries if you don't have that. Definitely the fluffy thing is more important. And if you don't have anything fluffy in your house, then you should probably just go buy one anyway. Like buy a pillow, grab your bed pillows, anything really. Fold up a blanket, just something soft and fluffy. So go ahead, pause the video, grab those props, and we'll meet back here to play around with crow pose. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do was actually show you what crow pose is, in case you have no idea what I'm talking about. So crow pose is an arm balance, because I'm actually going to be balancing on my hands. And my knees are actually up on my biceps or in my armpits. And then, like I mentioned, I'm going to bring my weight into my hands and actually lift my feet up. So this is crow pose. No promises we'll get here today, but we will definitely go ahead and do some drills that will help get you closer and closer to crow pose. And then eventually you'll be taking your own crow pose videos. So to prepare for this, one stretch I really like is to do a yogi squat or a goddess squat. So to do that, you're going to take your feet wide and then point your feet out as well. So point them out to the sides. And then just start to bend your knees, dropping your glutes all the way back. Maybe you keep your hands on your knees, start to feel the stretch on the inner thigh, or maybe you come deeper. So I'm bringing my elbows inside my knees. And then practice here keeping a long spine. So that's going to be really important in crow pose. So we might try and like round ourselves here and in crow pose, but practice keeping a long spine. Even if that means lifting your butt up a little bit. This is a nice pose. It starts to get you into the position of your hips being nice and wide. Also just plays with the balance a little bit. Maybe you rock back and forth on your toes. I like to do this sometimes. And you can even come into crow pose from here. Other ways to prep for crow pose are anything on your hands. So whether that's down dog, you can always come into down dog. And practice putting some weight on your hands. So rocking forward and then press back with your hands. So I'm pressing back with my hands. I'm not just collapsing my weight into my hands, but I'm really pressing back. And now that's hard to see sometimes. I can't really show it. But I'm pressing into my hands. And then from here, if you want, you can do some froggy hops too. So coming up and then jumping back. Froggy hop forward and back. And forward and back. And what this is doing is, again, opening up the hips and also putting that weight in my hands. So forward and back. So froggy hops. And if you've done some of those prep poses, we're ready to start working on crow pose. So a lot of times in my classes, students will tell me that they are this close to getting crow pose. They know the position, they know how to get into it, they are strong enough, they've been trying so many times, and they always get there and they just can't, they just always fall back, they can't hold it. And when that happens, it is 99.5% of the time fear. So our brain is really good at telling us not to do stupid things. So it's when, you know, the ugly car drives by, it tells you not to get in the van. It tells you when you're walking on the street and there's a hole, not to step in the hole. So our brain is really good about telling us not to do stupid things. But our brain sometimes misfires. So it thinks something is dangerous and it tells you not to do it. So crow pose is one of those examples. So it gets really scared of you falling forward and hitting your face. But sometimes the fear misfires. So it tells you not to go into your boss's office and ask for a raise. It tells you not to ask that person out. Fear can tell you not to do a lot of things that could actually be good for you, like getting into crow pose. So as you start to tilt forward, you're like, yes, I'm going to do this. The brain suddenly stops you and says, oh no, can't do this, we're gonna fall, let's go back. So for that reason, when that does happen, people tell me, you know, they are having trouble like that, I say grab something nice and soft and put it in front of your face. So if you're in the yoga studio, a bolster is great. If you're at home, like I mentioned before, some pillows, some blankets, anything that's really going to tell your brain that if you fall forward, it's going to be fine. Even a big giant stack of pillows works too. So I have my pillow in front of me. And then what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come back into that sort of squat position. So you might like having your feet wide like that squat, or I like to actually have my feet in a little bit, and you can see I'm actually up on my toes, my heels are lifted. And then the next thing I want to do is find a nice sturdy spot to place my hands. So you don't want to be up on your fingertips, that's going to be really hard, but really have nice palms planted, just like we tell you in down dog. Your fingers are wide, you have a nice base throughout your entire hand. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my knees onto my biceps here. So you can bring them wherever they're comfortable. So maybe, as you can see now, I'm a little bit lower on my biceps. If it's more comfortable to you to actually bring your kneecaps kind of towards your armpits, you might like that as well. That way you get a little bit more surface area. But generally when people start, it's easier to kind of just bring this inside point of my knee onto my bicep. And then what I'm going to do is I'm slowly going to start putting some weight forward into my hands. So I'm just going to practice here, rocking back and forth. So I'm putting more weight into my hands than my feet. And start to play with this, see how it feels. And then just like we talked about in that yogi squat, I'm keeping a long spine here. So instead of going forward, I'm looking for, or going down, I'm looking forward in front of me. So as I rock forward, I look forward. You'll notice a little bit more weight goes into your hands this way, and it makes you feel like you can just lift off. So once I feel pretty confident with these rocks, I'm actually going to come up a little bit higher and really start to put a lot of my weight into my hands. I'm putting so much weight that it's actually really easy for me to just pick up one of my toes. And again, maybe you stay here. Maybe you pick up the other toe, building strength. Try and pick up one toe at a time. Take a breather anytime you need. I mean, I do crow pose all the time and I'm taking a breather. But if you feel confident, like you can pick up one toe, no problem. Go ahead and rock forward again. I'm going to pick up one toe and then the other. Nice job. So this is crow pose. Okay, so it probably wasn't that easy. So I'm going to go over some things now that might be happening and some ways to kind of help out. So one common thing is that I get my toes up and then I just fall back. So, or maybe I jump forward and then I come back. I'm jumping, got it, and then I go back. I jump forward, I got it, I got it, I got it, and then I go back. So that goes back into that fear. So if you feel like you can get up there and then you just come right back, you're probably not tilting enough forward. So what you want to do is actually tilt more forward. So look more forward, I'm tilting even more. And then when you pick up your toes, your weight is balanced. So it's like a seesaw. If you have equal weight on both sides, it'll be easier to seesaw, go back and forth. If you have a lot of weight on one side, it's not going to seesaw. So I'm tilting more of my weight forward. I'm looking forward, more of my weight's coming forward. And it's easier to lift up my toes. And again, really notice if you're just afraid of falling forward. Now, if you realize you're like, I am really afraid of this, and I don't know how to get over it, the best way to get over it is to just face plant. So see, it wasn't that bad. If you tried it, then you won't be afraid of it. If you know that's the worst thing that can happen, then you'll be a little bit more braver next time. So the next problem you might be having is that you just can't lift your toes up. So no matter how far you rock forward, you just feel like your toes are made of lead and you cannot get them up off the ground. So what we're going to do for that is to grab our books or our block or our stool, and we're actually going to start on them. So what I like to do is start one foot on them. If you feel really sturdy like a stool, you can actually do both feet. Actually, I'm going to scoot this back a little bit more. But you're going to start your feet on them. And then we're going to set up for crow pose again. You'll even notice that it's easier to get my knees up higher on my biceps here. And I'm going to rock forward. And now you can see with my toes higher up, it's much easier for me to lift them. And I don't have as far to lift. So that's nice and easy. Maybe, let me show you both toes. So I'm coming onto both toes, onto the block, onto the stack. I feel like an owl right here, like kind of perched. You could also use a step for this too. I forgot to mention that, but if you have like stairs in your house, go ahead and try this on a step. But again, I'm going to rock forward. And then notice I'm almost in crow pose here. All I need to do is just lift my toes a little bit. This helps lift your shins up to the right height. Helps you get up there just a little bit more easier. And my last tip to help with crow pose is just keep practicing. So I promise you guys, I did not nail crow pose the first time I tried it. I've probably been doing crow pose for about 10 years now. And I've been trying at it for even longer. So if you did not nail crow pose today, please keep trying. It's great that this video is on YouTube because you can always keep watching it. You can do some more drills. You can keep practicing every single day, and I promise eventually you'll get crow pose. If you like as well, please send me a video on Facebook or Instagram if you want me to take a look at your crow pose and give you some extra tips. Maybe having a yoga teacher look at it will help you kind of figure out what's going on. So please send me those at Kit Does Yoga on Facebook or Instagram. While you're there, please follow me and don't forget to subscribe. Happy crow posing! Wah!